We all experience moments of weakness. It may be fear, sadness, or self-doubt. But often, we try to hide these feelings. We act strong because we believe weakness is something to be ashamed of. Society tells us that strong people never cry, never hesitate, and never struggle. But is that really true? Think about a tree standing in the middle of a storm. If it is too stiff, it will break when the wind becomes too strong. But if it bends, it survives. Strength is not about resisting everything. True strength comes from knowing when to bend, when to let go, and when to accept help. In Buddhism, we talk about impermanence. Everything in life changes. Our emotions, our bodies, our experiences, they all rise and fall like waves in the ocean. If we refuse to accept our own vulnerability, we are fighting against the natural flow of life. But if we recognize our weaknesses, we can begin to understand ourselves more deeply. When we admit that we're weak, something amazing happens. We stop pretending. We become honest, not just with others, but with ourselves. And in that honesty, we find clarity. We see what we truly need. We find the courage to ask for help. We open ourselves to learning and growth. Some of the greatest figures in history were not strong because they were fearless. They were strong because they admitted their fears and worked through them. The Buddha himself left his life as a prince because he saw suffering in the world and realized his own ignorance. That moment of admitting weakness led him to seek wisdom and ultimately enlightenment. If you feel weak, do not see it as a failure. See it as the beginning of something greater. Weakness is not the end of the road. It is the door to growth. When we admit that we do not have all the answers, we make room to learn. When we stop hiding our pain, we allow others to connect with us. And in that connection, we find real strength. So take a deep breath. Think about something you have been struggling with. Instead of running from it, acknowledge it. Say to yourself, "This is difficult for me, and that's okay." That simple act of acceptance is the first step toward finding strength. When we think of strength, we often imagine someone standing alone, independent, and unshaken. But true strength is not about isolation. It is about connection. And the key to deep, meaningful connections is vulnerability. Think about a time when you shared a personal struggle with someone. Maybe you told a friend about your fears, your failures, or your sadness. At first, it may have felt uncomfortable, but what happened next? Often, the other person responded with understanding. Maybe they shared a similar experience. Maybe they offered support. In that moment, your bond grew stronger. Vulnerability allows us to connect because it shows our true selves. When we hide our pain, we create distance between ourselves and others. We wear masks, pretending to be perfect, pretending to have everything under control. But deep inside, we all know that life is not always easy. When someone opens up to us, we do not see them as weak. Instead, we feel closer to them. We feel honored that they trust us. In Buddhism, compassion is one of the highest virtues. But true compassion does not come from a place of superiority. It comes from shared experience. When we recognize our own struggles, we become more understanding of others. If you have experienced sadness, you can recognize sadness in someone else. If you have faced fear, you know how to comfort those who are afraid. Our vulnerabilities do not separate us. They unite us. There is a story about a monk who carried a heavy bag on his back. A traveler asked him, "Why do you carry such a burden?" The monk smiled and replied, "Because it allows me to understand the burdens of others." When we acknowledge our struggles, we become more compassionate. And when we show compassion, we create relationships built on trust and kindness. If you ever feel alone in your struggles, remember this: you are not alone. Every person you meet is carrying some burden. Some may hide it well, but it is there. By sharing your struggles, you allow others to do the same. And in that shared experience, you find strength together. So today, take a moment to be open. Share your thoughts with someone you trust. Listen to someone else's struggles without judgment. When we open our hearts, we build a world that is kinder, more understanding, and stronger together. We often see vulnerability as something negative, something to fix or overcome. But what if we looked at it differently? What if we saw vulnerability as a source of strength? In life, we all face challenges: loss, failure, uncertainty. These experiences shake us. But they also offer us a choice. We can try to escape our struggles, pretending they do not exist. Or we can face them, learn from them, and grow. True strength is not about avoiding pain. It is about using pain as a teacher. Think of a broken bone. When it heals, it becomes stronger than before. The same is true for our hearts and minds. Every time we face difficulty, we have the chance to build resilience. But to do that, we must first accept our vulnerability. In Buddhism, suffering is seen as a path to wisdom. The Buddha taught that life is filled with both joy and sorrow, and that resisting pain only creates more suffering. But when we accept our pain, when we sit with it, understand it, and learn from it, we transform it. So how do we do this? How do we turn vulnerability into strength? First, practice self-awareness. When you feel weak or afraid, do not judge yourself. Instead, observe your feelings. Ask yourself, what is this emotion teaching me? Maybe your fear is telling you to prepare more. Maybe your sadness is reminding you to appreciate love. Every emotion has a message. Second, embrace imperfection. Many of us try to be perfect, thinking that if we make no mistakes, we will be safe. But perfection is an illusion. Growth comes from failing, learning, and trying again. The strongest people are not those who never fall, but those who always get back up. Third, seek support. Strength does not mean facing everything alone. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is ask for help. A tree does not stand tall by itself. It is supported by deep roots and nourished by the earth. We too need connection. When you share your struggles with others, you allow them to share their strength with you. Finally, find meaning in your struggles. Pain without purpose can feel unbearable, but pain that leads to growth becomes a source of power. Ask yourself, how can this experience make me wiser? How can it help me support others? When we transform our pain into wisdom, we not only grow stronger ourselves, we become a source of strength for others. Vulnerability is not a weakness. It is the foundation of true strength. By accepting it, learning from it, and sharing it, we find a deeper, more lasting strength, one that cannot be shaken by life's storms. So take a deep breath. Whatever challenge you are facing, know that it is shaping you into someone wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. Strength is not about being unbreakable. It is about being open, adaptable, and willing to grow. And that kind of strength lasts forever. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan or prepare, there will always be moments that test us, moments of fear, sadness, or uncertainty. But as we have explored, vulnerability is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. When we admit our struggles, we open ourselves to growth. When we share our challenges, we build deeper connections. And when we find meaning in our pain, we transform it into wisdom and strength. The journey toward inner strength is not about becoming unshakable. It is about learning to stand, even when the ground beneath us feels unsteady. It is about knowing that we do not have to walk alone. There is strength in reaching out, in trusting others, and in allowing ourselves to be seen as we truly are. As you move forward, I hope you will remember this. Your vulnerability is not your weakness. It is your greatest teacher. Each challenge you face is shaping you, making you wiser and more compassionate. And by embracing your struggles, you are becoming stronger in a way that truly matters. If today's message resonated with you, I would be grateful if you could take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot, and it allows us to continue sharing these reflections with more people. I always appreciate your kindness, whether it is through your likes, subscriptions, or super thanks. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for walking this path of growth and wisdom together. May you find peace in your journey. May you find strength in your vulnerability. And may each step bring you closer to the clarity and resilience you seek.